Today on Stock Charts in Focus, we're talking about scanning. Specifically, we're going to talk about some of the tools and features you have available to you to sweep your scan results after you've run one of those technical scans. Now we're going to do this in SharpCharts, we're going to do this in ACP, give you a sense of how you can use some of these different tools to improve your filtering after you've run a scan. You've got your results, you want to run through the charts, see what comes back and narrow down your list. Today's show is going to help you do that in both platforms, SharpCharts and ACP. So lots to cover on today's show. Of course, you know what it is. It's all new. It's all here. It's Stock Charts in Focus. All right, my friends, welcome to the show, Stock Charts in Focus. Thank you so much for joining me on another edition of our product focus show here on StockCharts TV, where we dive into the tools, dig into the features, show you around different corners of the site, help you see things in a way that you might not have seen them before, and of course, help you get more value out of Stock Charts. That is our mission here on Stock Charts in Focus every single Friday on StockCharts TV. My name is Grayson Roze, Vice President of Operations here at StockCharts.com. Today, as always, going to be a fun episode. We're going to talk about scanning, specifically what happens after you've run a scan. Now, there are lots of different tools that you have available to you, some that you might be familiar with, some that you might not. But after you've run a scan, what are you doing with those results? You want to sweep those results. You want to sort of review what's come back, narrow down the list of stocks and funds that meet the technical criteria you have just scanned for. So we're going to show you a couple of different ways to do that. We're going to do that, like I said in the intro, in SharpCharts. We're also going to do this in ACP, show you how you can use some of these resources to really sort of bring some more efficiency to your process, make it easier to run that scan and then narrow down the results. We're gonna do this with 10 per page, we're gonna do this with CandleGlance, GalleryView, then jump over to ACP, show you how some of those tools work over there as well. So lots to cover on today's show, all about process, talking about how to get more out of your scans. Let's get right to it. So we are starting today's show on the members dashboard. Now, we're not actually starting from the scan engine itself because today's show isn't really about customizing scans, building your own scans, writing all of those technical scans for whatever criteria you want. Today is really about you've got your scans set up, you're gonna run those. What do you do with the results after you've run a scan? Now, the reason that we're starting from the members dashboard is that this is actually the place that I use to run most of my scans. Now, a lot of you might be using the actual scan engine, jumping over to the scan workbench to run those scans, but you've got some great tools available to you here on the members dashboard that make it really easy to run your scans. So you can see up in the top right corner of the members dashboard, I've got the scans and alerts buttons. If those are not visible to you, remember you can always click this blue preferences icon. Make sure that scans and alerts is checked. That's going to turn on what we call the scans and alerts row on your dashboard. You can see I've got that checked, so these buttons show up for me. But when I give these a click, that actually scrolls me right down to the scans and alerts section of the members dashboard. Now, the members dashboard, of course, I like to call it the heart and soul of your StockCharts accounts, the first page you see when you log in. There is a ton there. We've talked a lot about this page in the past. I use this really to watch the markets during a daily basis. But I also use this to run my scans, see my alerts, access my chart list. All of that stuff is right here for you. So today, like I said, what we're talking about is you've run a scan. What do you do with those results? So here on the members dashboard, you can see the Your Scans panel. We are going to run a scan, and then we're going to have some fun playing around with your different options for reviewing those results after they come back to you. So I'm going to actually select a scan here. Today, we're going to be working with one that I run actually on a daily basis. This is a new all-time highs in the S&P 1500 scan. So you can see I select that. If I do want to edit that, I can click here. If I want to create a new scan, I've got some options all around here. But today, what we're doing is just selecting that scan and running it. So when I select that from the dashboard, I hit run, and there we go. I've just run this scan. Now, what I've searched for, you can actually see some of the syntax right in here. What I'm doing in this scan is scanning the S&P 1500. That is large caps in the S&P 500, mid caps in the S&P 400, and small caps in the S&P 600. Altogether, those comprise the S&P 1500. And then I'm just scanning for stocks that are making an all-time high in that group. Of course, an all-time high is something that is incredibly bullish, incredibly powerful, a sign of incredible strength for any stock that is making that technical move. So that for me is an important filter. I love to sweep the S&P 500 for stocks making a new all-time high. So that's actually the scan that we are going to be working with today. But so we've run this scan. Now we can see that on this page itself, we do have quite a few options. We get a rundown of the 71 stocks that have triggered this criteria, 71 stocks that are making new all-time highs in the S&P 1500. And we can get some important data here. We can see which exchange they trade on. We can see the sector and industry breakdowns, the scooter values. That's our StockCharts technical rank. A lot of different things here. We can click the name to pull up a chart, or we can jump over to a couple of the other charting tools available right here for any of these specific names. So we have things like symbol summary, the SharpCharts page, we've got gallery view and seasonality and P&F charts, lots of stuff right in here that you can actually jump over to. But what we're talking about today is how to actually take this sort of to the next level. So what we're looking at is this available actions menu. Now, when you open this up, you've got a couple of different options. You can store these scan results in a new chart list. You can merge these results with an existing chart list. That's an important one for me. I'll touch on that in just a sec. Or if you have a chart list that you're using to store scan results, you can actually replace everything in that chart list right here. You can also download this as a CSV format if you sort of want to take it offline. But the three options that you're probably going to use most frequently are storing these in a new chart list, or merging them with an existing chart list, or even replacing an existing chart list with these results. Now, I mentioned that this is a scan that I run quite a lot, new all-time highs in the S&P 1500. So what I actually have done is I've created a chart list in my account that's got that name, S&P 1500 new all-time highs. And when I run this scan every day after the close, I merge the results of that scan into that chart list. Now, if you think about me doing that every day after the close, Monday through Friday, by the time I get to Friday's close, I run that scan, I merge the results in, and what I've actually done since I've been doing that every day of the week, I've built up a chart list because I've been merging them in over the course of the week. I've actually built up a chart list of stocks that have made an all-time high in the S&P 1500 that week. So when I get to the end of the week, when I get to Friday, I get to the weekend, I've got my chart review process on the weekend, I can actually review that chart list. That's one that I find a lot of opportunities from. I can actually review that chart list sort of from everything that's made a new all-time high that week. So it allows me to kind of build up a list of things that are triggering my criteria throughout the week. So I actually use the merge function quite a bit. Of course, if you just wanted to store these in a new list, kind of keep an eye on things as they evolve over time, you could do that. Or if you've got a list that you want to sort of keep using, that's where that replace feature comes in. Today, though, what we're actually going to demonstrate is this merge function. So I'm going to select merge these results. And here we get the option to select which list we're going to merge it into. So as you can see, like I was describing, I've actually got a chart list here called All-Time Highs S&P 1500. So I'm going to merge these results into that list. That means that anything that's already in there is going to be ignored, but anything that is new is going to get put into that list. So I've been doing this, as I mentioned, every day after the close for the entirety of this week. So there are a ton of stocks in here. We saw that we had 71 that came back with today's scan, but if I scroll down to the bottom of the summary page, you can actually see there are 217 stocks because these are stocks that have been making all-time highs throughout the week. So that merge function, incredibly important for me. So we've run our scan now, we've saved those results, which is incredibly important because now we can start to filter that list, review that list, really start to work with those scan results. In this case, we've merged it into the existing list that I have, that all-time highs list. Now, where do we go from here? So this is really the meat of today's show. This is where we're going to dive into the SharpCharts options, and then we're also going to do all of this over in ACP as well. So once you've merged that or created a new list or replaced an existing list, once you're sort of over in the chart list world after running your scan, what you can do is open up this menu right here, the View List As menu, and you've got a couple of different options that we're going to run through today. Specifically, what we're going to talk about is 10 per page, Chartbook, GalleryView, and CandleGlance. Now, these are the 4 options in SharpCharts that I personally find incredibly helpful for reviewing scan results. We're going to talk about why, and then of course we're going to recreate these over in ACP as well. But we're going to start with 10 per page, show you how you can use some of these different options to actually filter down your scan results after you've run them and stored them in a new list. So we'll jump over to 10 per page first. Now, 10 per page makes sense right in the name there. You've got 10 charts per page. So at the top here, you can see all of the different pages that you can jump to. But what this allows you to do, what 10 per page view allows you to do, is simply scroll through all of the charts in the list. So we can start up here with Agilent. We can see the chart there, a beautiful trend on this, continuing to make, like we scanned for, all-time highs here. Beautiful trend. So I can now start to review all of the charts in this list right here in 10 per page. And all I have to do is simply scroll through. Makes it really, really easy. When I get to the bottom, when I get to the 10th chart, I can just click on to the next page or just use this little next button right here to move on to the next page. So this is kind of the first step in reviewing scan results after you've run them. You can come over to something like 10 per page and start to just kind of simply scroll through the charts in that list. Now, a couple of things that make this even more powerful. If you want to eliminate anything from the list, let's say maybe AbbVie has actually been kind of breaking down after making all-time highs earlier in the week. If we wanted to actually delete something, we've got the little trash can icon right here when we hover over this chart. So what we've got to do, hit delete. Now that one's been removed for the list. So again, when we're talking about, reviewing scan results, starting to kind of narrow down that list, these are the tools that you can use to really do that pretty easily. Makes it really simple to run a scan and start to sort of clear out the results that you want to ignore. So that little trash can icon, definitely one to remember. One of the other tools though that's baked into here that you might want to use is under the Actions menu. Right here in 10 per page, you can actually annotate your charts as well. So you open up the Annotate button and we can start to draw some annotations on this chart. So for instance, here we're looking at Apple. We can start to draw maybe a horizontal resistance line that's starting to turn into support there. We've got kind of another one opening up right there. We've got some beautiful relative strength on this. Lots going on this chart. So we can draw our annotations though, right here within 10 per page, hit that Save button, and there we go. We've now drawn those annotations on the chart. They're saved to this chart. They're saved into this list. And so we can start to keep reviewing and actually annotating these charts as we go. So now in this case, we've got tons and tons of charts coming back with all-time highs because we've got such a strong market. But if you've got a more specific scan that's got some, fewer results, the annotations especially can be an incredibly powerful thing to add into your process here. And again, you can do that right from 10 per page. So we can jump on to the next view. This is sort of our first stop here, reviewing your scan results in 10 per page, saving them to a list. The next view up though is Chartbook. Now, Chartbook is going to look very similar to 10 per page. This allows you though to view one chart at a time. So in this case, you can see when I scroll down to the bottom, instead of having sort of a scrolling list, we've just got one chart at a time. The top of this page changes a little bit. We've got our Select Chart menu. So we can actually open this up and see all of the different charts in this list. If we wanted to jump to a specific chart, we can do that right from here. And of course, we can start to click through this chart list. There's our annotated Apple chart up next. We can simply start to click through this list and review all of the charts that come back from that scan. Again, everything is saved into this list. So again, we've got our Actions menu. We can annotate all of that good stuff. If we wanted to draw, for instance, a trend line here across Abbott, we could do, or a resistance line here across Abbott. We can see it just starting to make that breakout, getting back up to all-time highs, nice relative strength, all of that. So you can see how this process becomes very, very easy here in 10 per page or in Chartbook. All of that stuff is kind of right there for you. So especially as you're running these scans, you're sort of keeping those lists throughout the week. These become incredible resources for really sort of maintaining those watch lists, starting to build up and starting to actually filter down some of these lists as well with some of those delete functions, that kind of thing. So anyways, 10 per page and Chartbook, pretty similar. Chartbook though, really just kind of one chart at a time instead of that scrolling list. Now, if we want to dig into sort of the next level down, we want to get a little more specific with some of these charts, we can pull up something like GalleryView. So GalleryView is something that we've done episodes on in the past. We covered this a couple of weeks ago as part of a sort of charting on the go episode that we did, but we've also done standalone episodes on GalleryView in the past as well. But with GalleryView, what you actually get is, again, that same sort of Chartbook header up here. You can select any chart from the list that you want. You can start to flip through this list. We can keep moving here through all of the different charts in the list. But what GalleryView allows you to do is actually get sort of multiple charts for a single symbol on the screen at once. So in a big stack here, you get the intraday view. You can customize all these charts as well. But you get your intraday view. In my case, this is a 45-day, 1-minute chart. You get your daily view below that. I've customized this to be a 1-year chart. And then I've got my 5-year weekly chart below that. So you get all these kind of stacked on top of each other. You even get a point and figure view at the bottom. So this can be another way, sort of once you've narrowed down that list, maybe you want to dig into the charts with sort of multiple time frames, really sort of go to the next level with some of the charts in your scan results list. GalleryView can be a great one for that. And again, really easy to just start to flip through all of these lists. You can annotate things in here. You've got lots and lots of different options. Now, the last one up is actually one of my favorites. I really did kind of save the best for last. We're talking about CandleGlance. Now, let's say you've run a scan like my new all-time high scan that's returning lots of results. In this case, remember when we ran that scan at first, we had actually 71 stocks making new all-time highs right now. But when we sort of merged that in with the bigger list, we actually had over 200 stocks that have made new all-time highs in the S&P 1500 this week. So obviously that is a lot of charts to filter through. So when you have a scan that's returning lots of results like that, CandleGlance can actually be one of the most powerful views. Now again, just like GalleryView, you can actually customize all of these charts. You can see I've actually selected custom style right here. We've done episodes on that in the past. There's lots of documentation on it. We'll put some links in the description below to how to customize some of these charts, by the way. But CandleGlance allows you to view multiple symbols in these little mini charts all at once. So in my case, I've actually customized these with my relative strength line. This is the stock versus VTI, the Vanguard Total Index. And then I've got a 50-day moving average and a 200-day moving average on here on the screen at once. So these little mini charts provide a very quick and easy, simple view of what's going on for all of these different stocks in one page. Now, we have that same delete feature, which is incredibly important because when we think about reviewing a scan, starting to sort of clear out that list, we can actually start to filter out the things that don't look as good. So maybe we think that, let's find one here that's kind of underperforming. Broadcom kind of underperforming, has been moving higher, but we can see that relative strength line not as strong. So maybe we want to eliminate that from the list. All we've got to do, hit that little trash can icon. Makes it really easy to start to clear out these lists. Smith AO, another one that's kind of underperforming, not very exciting there. So maybe we want to clear that one out. Again, you can see how we just start to sort of filter out these lists. Allegion is also kind of underperforming, so we'll start to delete that. So again, CandleGlance can just make it really easy to review everything kind of all in one place, all at once, a bigger list of symbols, bigger list of charts all at once. With that little delete feature, you can actually start to clear out that list pretty easily. So hopefully this has given you a sense of some of the tools you have available to you in the SharpCharts world. You've run your scan, you merge that into an existing chart list, you save that into a new chart list, any of those different saving options that you want to use. And then you can use some of these chart list features up here in our view list as 10 per page, Chartbook, GalleryView, CandleGlance. You can use some of those chart list features to actually review those scan results, start to narrow down that list, eliminate the ones that you don't want. You can even take this list once you get it down to sort of your final few. You can even merge those results into another chart list. Maybe you've got a specific watch list that you want to keep an eye on. Maybe you've got a buy list that you want to move some things over into. Once you get those scan results really kind of saved as a chart list, that's when it can really start to fly. You can really start to work with those results, move them around, save your annotations, keep an eye on things that are breaking out, that are moving higher, things that you might want to take advantage of in the market. So hopefully this has given you a sense of some of these SharpCharts tools and how they work here after you've run your scans. We're going to do something very similar now, but over in ACP. So of course, ACP, our new interactive advanced charting platform, has the ability to run scans directly from the platform. So the exact same tools that we just ran through here in the SharpCharts world, we're actually going to run over to ACP, show you how some of those work over there. So let's jump over to ACP now, show you how that works. So here we are in ACP, our new interactive advanced charting platform. Everything kind of in one place for you. That is the mission of ACP, bringing so much more into sort of one destination. It really is kind of an endpoint where you can go and run your entire approach from one location without having to bounce around from page to page. We've also created a very dynamic, sort of fluid charting experience, so it makes it really easy to zoom in, zoom out, move indicators around the screen, all of that exciting stuff that we can do with some of the latest web technologies. So ACP continuing to evolve. I know we've been talking about it quite a lot, but we've also been doing some fantastic things with ACP, like bringing scans directly into the platform. So that's what we're going to talk about right now, showing you how some of those same concepts that we looked at in the SharpCharts world actually apply here in ACP. So over on the right side of the platform, we've got our little scans icon. When you give that a click, that opens up the scans sidebar. Now there are a couple different options in here, some pretty cool stuff too. You've got your custom scans in the first tab. That's going to give you access to all of your custom scans that you've created in your account right here within ACP, and you can run any of those. You can even hit the edit button to open up the scan workbench outside of ACP, but that'll open up the scan workbench and allow you to edit some of those scans if you want. You've actually got access to predefined scans as well though. So you can open this up. You've got tons of our predefined scans that you can run in just a single click. You don't actually have to go customize all of the criteria if there are things that interest you in that predefined scans list. You can run those right from ACP in just a couple of clicks. Makes it really easy. But what we're going to do today is actually talk about how that same process that we just looked at in the SharpCharts world can be done here in ACP. So we've selected your scans. We've actually got our same new all-time highs in the S&P 1500 scan selected. And all I have to do now is hit run. So we've run that scan and here we go. We've got that same list of results back. Now this has changed a little bit because the market's open, so things are slightly different. Now we've got 76 results making new all-time highs today, but we can start to breeze through these. Now what's cool in ACP is that you've got that scan results list right there next to your charts. So actually the first stop here in ACP, first stop for reviewing this list is simply to run the scan and actually use the sidebar to review those charts. So any chart that you have up on the screen, that those settings, the indicators, the size, the colors, all that stuff, that's actually going to get applied when you click anything over here in the right sidebar. But we can start to breeze through this list. So we can take our scan results, simply click through the list, makes it really easy to run through these results. Now we can also use these little arrow keys up here, and we're going to show you how this multi-chart mode works in just a couple of minutes when we actually save this into a chart list. So we'll save that for now, but you can do some pretty cool stuff actually loading in a layout here and then pulling in multiple symbols at once to kind of recreate that CandleGlance concept. So first stop though, run your scan in ACP and you've got those results there right next to your charts. It makes it really easy to breeze through all of these. Now at the bottom of this panel though, we've got that big green button for saving to a chart list. So we're going to do that now. I've done the exact same thing here in ACP. We do have that new chart list feature. So if you want to save these to a new chart list, you can see actually what it creates. It'll have the name of the scan and then the date that it was run. So it makes it easy to sort of build those up over time if you want to create new chart lists every time you run a scan. But you can also do that same merge idea and that same replace idea. So we're going to merge this into that S&P 1500 new all-time highs list, which I've recreated actually in ACP. Gonna hit save, and there we go, successfully saved. So now I've done the exact same thing. I've merged those results into an ACP chart list. And so what I can do is close this down, actually go over to our chart list sidebar, which is the very top one. We can actually close down the drawer for now. But we've got our chart list over here in the right sidebar, kind of similar to our scan results. We've got a list of symbols over here in the right side of the screen, and we can click any of those to pull that symbol right in. Now, the first list that I have loaded up is actually that, that one that I used to merge the scan results into, so it makes it nice and convenient. But we've got our new all-time highs in the S&P 1500 chart list, and here we go. We've got all of those results right in there for us. Now, I've been running this scan, so again, you know, this number is a little bit different. But we've got all of these results right here for us. So let's talk through a couple of those concepts that we thought about in SharpCharts. First up is 10 per page. Now, things are a little bit different here in ACP because again, we've got our list right on the right side and we've got our charts right in the middle. So we actually don't have things like 10 per page or chart book because those are effectively built in right here. So to recreate that 10 per page concept, all we've got to do is click through this list. That's going to automatically pull in this symbol, use our settings right here because I've got load symbol only checked. So that's actually going to mean that instead of using whatever the saved settings are over here, we're actually just going to use the settings that the chart on the screen is already using. But to recreate that 10 per page concept or that chart book concept, you sort of got that built in right here. All you've got to do is click on the different symbols that you want to see. Now, I mentioned we were going to talk about these little buttons up here, the little arrows and the multi-chart mode. We'll get to that in just a sec. The one in the middle, that's the multi-chart mode. But you can also use these arrows to actually flip through the lists. So it makes it really easy to breeze through this chart list, similar to what we were doing with 10 per page. Now, of course, you've got your annotations panel over here on the left. So you can even annotate these charts, save them to this list. Everything that we were doing in 10 per page and chart book, you can do right here in ACP as well. Again, because you've run that scan, you've saved it to a chart list here in ACP, and so you can start to kind of build that up over time. Now, you do have some actions over here with this little bunch of dots. That opens up actually sort of the actions menu. Again, similar to what we were looking at in 10 per page and chart book. You've got a whole bunch of different options here. You can actually copy this chart or move it or merge it to another list. You can apply different chart styles to it. If you do want to delete it, you've got that option right here. Or if you want to edit the comments for it, add a comment about this chart or change the save chart name, you've got all of those different actions available to you right here in this little menu. So 10 per page and chart book really kind of built into ACP automatically. You don't really have to select those views. All you've got to do is click through your list of saved symbols and that'll automatically pull that into the screen. The two that are a little bit more interesting though in ACP are GalleryView and CandleGlance. So again, powerful concepts, viewing one symbol in sort of multiple chart views, multiple time frames, multiple sets of indicators, anything that you want to do like that. That's sort of the GalleryView concept, one symbol, multiple charts at a time. The CandleGlance concept of multiple charts, all with different symbols, we can also do here in ACP via multi-chart layout. So that's where this multi-chart mode is actually going to come into play. So over here on the left side is our layouts menu. Now, the way that we recreate those GalleryView and CandleGlance concepts here in ACP is through multi-chart layouts. You can actually create multi-chart layouts in ACP with up to 12 charts on the screen at once. So when we close down My Saved Layouts, you can actually save your layouts here in ACP as well. But we have actually some sample layouts that you can use. GalleryView and CandleGlance are two of those sample layouts. So you can pull those up and start to play around with these concepts. And basically by combining multi-chart layouts and your chart lists, you can put those into one and recreate that SharpCharts concept. So I've actually customized mine. So we're going to do that now. I'll show you GalleryView, then we'll jump over to CandleGlance to show you how that works. So what I'm going to do is click GalleryView. And what we can see here is that I've now pulled up 4 charts on the screen and they all have the same symbol. So I've actually got my intraday chart right here. I've got my daily chart right here in the top right. I've got a weekly chart in the bottom left, and I've got a monthly chart actually in the bottom right. So similar to what we were doing with that GalleryView concept, I've got 4 charts on the screen. They all have the same symbol, and they are all in different time frames. Now I could actually do something similar here with all the same time frame, but different sets of indicators. That's another thing you could actually do in ACP. So lots of different options. But what we're going to look at is how to recreate sort of what we were doing over in the SharpCharts world. Now the key with Gallery View is that over here in the Layouts menu, I have to come down and turn on what we call the Symbol Sync option. When you turn on Symbol Sync, it means that any charts on the screen that have the same symbol will change together. So again, in that Gallery View concept, you're taking one symbol and applying it across multiple charts. So I'm going to turn on that Symbol Sync option. Now what I've got is my intraday chart, my daily chart, my weekly chart, and my monthly chart all on the screen at once, all linked with Symbol Sync. And I can come back to this chart list over on the right and actually start to flip through this. So I can click AMN. And now, because I've got Symbol Sync on, that's actually changed all of these together. So I've got my intraday, daily, weekly, and monthly. Those have all been changed to AMN. And again, I can start to flip through this list. So I basically recreated now that Gallery View concept here in ACP. Again, I've selected my Gallery View option. I've actually customized this one a little bit, saved this as a custom layout for myself. I've turned on that Symbol Sync option. That's incredibly important. And now I'm just sort of flipping through this chart list here with that Gallery View up on the screen. So these multi-chart modes really in ACP allow you to do a lot. And this is actually how we can start to recreate that CandleGlance concept as well. So we'll show you how to do that now in our last couple of minutes of the show. Over here on the left side, I've got a CandleGlance option. You can see that right here. So when I hit CandleGlance, for me in ACP, we can do up to 12 charts on the screen, but I've actually set my CandleGlance to be 9 charts at a time. I find that gives me just a little extra space for some of these charts, but they're gonna look exactly the same as what we were doing earlier in the SharpCharts world. We've got our relative strength line, our 50-day and our 200-day right here on this chart, and they're just kind of basic stripped out white charts. Now, in this case, they all loaded with eccentric because that's where we were when we flipped off the Gallery View. But we can actually start to recreate that CandleGlance concept and use that to review these scan results here in ACP. Now, the one important thing is that I need to turn off Symbol Sync because right now I've got Symbol Sync turned on. And so if I changed the symbol, all of these would change together because they're all using that ACN chart, the eccentric chart. So I'm going to turn off Symbol Sync, but I'm actually going to turn on something else. You can see down below here, we have some apply to all options. In this case, with CandleGlance, we want the same range and we want the same chart style applied to everything across the screen. We want all these charts to be exactly the same, but all using different symbols in this case. So I'm actually going to come down here and I'm going to turn on the apply to all for chart style so that all of them are the same if I make any changes. And I'm going to do the same with range. So if I change the range of one chart, it's actually going to apply that to all of the charts on the screen. I'm going to come up here now and I'm going to set all of these to be a 1-year chart. So we can see that that's going to filter through the entire layout. And now we've got all of these as 1-year charts. Now I'm going to go back over to my chart lists on the right. And I'm going to turn on what we call multi-chart mode. So I turn that on by clicking this little layouts icon. What that means is that any layout that I have in the middle of the screen is sort of going to get applied when I click things over here in the chart list sidebar. So for instance, if I click AMN, I've got 9 charts on the screen. And so what ACP is basically going to do is grab that AMN chart and the next 8 in the layout, and it's going to pull those in. I've also got load symbol only checked, which means that the only thing that's going to get sort of pulled into this layout is the symbol. It's actually not going to pull in any of the saved chart settings here, which is important for CandleGlance because I want these charts to be as they are on the screen. I don't actually want sort of the full featured charts that I've saved here, my defaults, in this chart list. So anyways, what we're going to do now, I'm going to click AMN. And you can see that we've actually pulled in the first 9 charts in this list. Over here in the list, they actually get highlighted in blue. You can see that. And ACN, because that is sort of where I am in this list, I've got the active chart selected there. So that sort of darker blue highlight is actually going to reflect sort of where the active chart position is. But as I click through these, I can click down to align, and you can see that I've got the first 9 pulled in. I want to sort of flip now to the next 9 in the list. All I have to do is actually hit the little arrow button, and that's now going to move to the next 9 charts in the list. So we've recreated that CandleGlance concept here in ACP. We've combined that with our chart list, we combined that with our scan results, and it makes it really easy to start to flip through these results. Again, I can do the exact same thing. I'm comparing all of these different charts at once, sort of on one screen in one layout. Makes it really easy to start to review these scan results. And because I've got those little actions menus over here, for instance, if I wanted to delete anything, all I've got to do is click that little menu icon, delete that chart right from there, and that's going to get removed from the list. So really easy to start sweeping these lists here in ACP. Now the fun part, again, of scans in ACP is that your results are really kind of right there for you. You've got a ton of charting power, and it's right there next to the results when you run those scans. So makes it even more efficient in a lot of ways to run those scans, see the results right away, flip through those results. You've got your charts right there next to your scan results. Pretty powerful stuff. So I know we covered a ton on today's show, sort of bouncing back and forth between the two worlds. SharpCharts, looking at some of the different chart list tools we have over there for reviewing your scan results, and then also looking at how some of those concepts can apply in ACP, where you can now run your scans as well. You've got the results right there for you in ACP. So much to play with, I'm sure, in either world, whether you're using SharpCharts or whether you flipped over to our new interactive advanced charting platform, ACP. In either case, we've got some powerful tools to really help you run those scans, review the results, narrow them down, filter those lists down, and really start to build a process from there. So hopefully this has given you some ideas, some different tools and visualizations to play with. Like I mentioned, some of those SharpCharts custom tools like GalleryView and CandleGlance, you can actually customize those charts. So we'll put some links down on the description below, help you see that if you haven't done that before, if you've never seen how to do that. But other than that, you got a ton to play with, I'm sure, after seeing this episode. Lots of different tools to play with, lots of different things to explore. And as you get into these scans, you know, the ability to really review those results and sort of build up these lists over time, maintain your annotations, that's what really starts to make those scanning features fly. It's not just about getting a list of symbols back, it's really about getting the charts, working with the charts, reviewing them, watching them over time, maintaining those lists, maintaining those annotations, and chart comments, all of that good stuff. You can do that with chart lists in SharpCharts and in ACP, sort of taking your scans to the next level. So hopefully you've gotten something out of this episode today here on StockCharts in Focus. I want to thank you again for joining me. Remember that we do this show every Friday on StockCharts TV. My name is Grayson Roze, Vice President of Operations here at StockCharts. It's been great to be with you. Thank you for sitting through another episode of StockCharts in Focus with me. Great to have you. Go play around with some scan results and those different tools. Have some fun while you're doing it, exploring all the different features you have available to you. Until the next time, though, chart on, my friends.
Hey guys, Dave Keller here with StockCharts.com. Thanks so much for watching our video. If you enjoyed it, and we hope you did, hit the like button right below. Also, we have so much new content every day. Consider subscribing to the channel. Just hit the subscribe button in the video or right below. Thanks for watching. Stay safe. Have a fantastic day.